Here's why Aemond betrayed his brother Aegon in the battle for power. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to explore one of the most shocking dynamics in House of the Dragon and Targaryen history, the betrayal of King Aegon II by his younger brother, Prince Aemond One-Eye. On the surface, the two brothers were supposed to be united. Both were sons of Alicent Hightower and King Viserys I Targaryen. Both were raised to believe in their family's right to the Iron Throne. And both were central figures in the devastating civil war known as the Dance of the Dragons. But beneath the surface, their relationship was fractured, poisoned by rivalry, jealousy, ambition, and differing visions of power. Aemond, often seen as the colder, more ruthless of the two, would eventually turn against his own blood and his hunger to rule. But here's the real question. Why? Why would Aemond betray Aegon, the brother whose crown he fought to secure in the first place? Was it pure ambition? Was it resentment at being overshadowed? Or was it the belief that Aegon was unfit to rule and that the realm needed a stronger hand? In this video, we'll dive deep into the psychology, history, and political intrigue behind Aemond's betrayal. We'll cover their childhood, their rivalry, the war itself, and the final stages of their deadly conflict. By the end, you'll understand not only why Aemond betrayed Aegon, but why this betrayal was inevitable from the very beginning. To understand Aemond's betrayal, we have to begin with their childhood. Aegon and Aemond were brothers, but they were very different men shaped by very different paths. Aegon, as the firstborn son of Alicent and Viserys, was always in the spotlight. From birth, he was groomed as a possible heir, though Viserys never officially declared him over Rhaenyra. He grew up entitled, spoiled, and rebellious. Aegon loved wine, women, and avoiding responsibility. He was a Targaryen prince who enjoyed the pleasures of his station without the weight of its duties. Aemond, by contrast, was the overlooked younger son. He had no dragon for many years, which made him the subject of ridicule among his siblings and even his nephews. He was mocked, called Aemond the Dragonless, and forced to carry that humiliation deep in his heart. When he finally claimed Vhagar, the mightiest living dragon, it transformed him, but it also hardened him. While Aegon drifted through life, Aemond trained. He studied, he fought, he sharpened himself like a blade. He carried himself with discipline and ambition, determined never to be mocked again. This difference between them, one careless, the other ruthless, planted the seeds of eventual betrayal. For Aemond, being in Aegon's shadow was intolerable. He didn't just want recognition, he wanted respect. And the cruel truth was that Aegon, despite his flaws, would always be firstborn. That fact alone denied Aemond the one thing he believed he deserved most, the Iron Throne. As they grew older, the differences between Aegon and Aemond became sharper. Aegon was reckless, unpredictable, and often drunk. He was known to frequent brothels and ignore his duties, earning whispers that he was unfit to rule. Aemond, meanwhile, was everything Aegon was not. He was disciplined, intelligent, and merciless. He studied warfare, strategy, and the history of kings. While Aegon wasted his youth in indulgence, Aemond built himself into a weapon. This imbalance created deep resentment. Aemond despised Aegon's laziness and weakness, and he envied the birthright that had been handed to him. To Aemond, it seemed like a cruel joke from the gods. The throne would go to a drunkard while the true warrior, the true leader, was forced to serve as second. The loss of Aemond's eye only made matters worse. After the infamous fight with Lucerys Velaryon, Aemond became permanently marked. He carried that scar with pride, but it symbolized his bitterness too. He had suffered for the family's cause, while Aegon lived carelessly. Even in battle, their rivalry was clear. When Aemond rode Vhagar, he commanded awe and terror. Aegon, though bonded to Sunfire, lacked the same respect. People looked to Aemond as the true strength of their faction. Whispers spread that perhaps Aemond would make the better king. Those whispers were like kindling. Aemond didn't need to ignite them. His brother's failures did that for him. And in time, Aemond began to believe that the Iron Throne should be his. When a civil war erupted after Viserys' death, Aemond and Aegon seemed united at first. Together, they represented the Greens, the Hightower and Targaryen alliance that opposed Rhaenyra and the Blacks. But war has a way of revealing true character. Aegon was crowned king, but his leadership left much to be desired. He was indecisive, often swayed by others, and reluctant to carry the burdens of command. Even after being crowned, he continued to indulge in drink and pleasure, sometimes vanishing when the realm needed him most. Aemond, on the other hand, thrived in the chaos of war. He led armies, commanded valor with terrifying precision, and proved himself a ruthless commander. His reputation grew, and soon people whispered that Aemond was the real power behind the throne. This dynamic put incredible strain on their relationship. Aegon resented Aemond's competence, seeing it as a threat to his authority. Aemond, meanwhile, grew frustrated with his brother's failings. Every battle, every decision reinforced the belief that Aegon was unworthy of the crown he wore. The breaking point came when Aegon was grievously injured in battle against Rhaenys Targaryen and her dragon, Meleys. Though Aegon survived, he was left physically weakened, unable to rule effectively. In his absence, Aemond stepped into the role of de facto ruler. And once he tasted that power, there was no going back. While Aegon recovered from his injuries, Aemond became the true ruler of the Greens. He sat on the councils, issued commands, and even wore the crown on his brother's behalf. Lords bent the knee to him, not Aegon. Soldiers followed him into battle, not the wounded king. This period was crucial because it showed Aemond what life could be like as king. He didn't have to imagine it. He lived it, and he thrived in it. He was decisive, commanding, and feared. Unlike Aegon, who ruled from weakness, Aemond ruled from strength. But the taste of power also widened the rift between the brothers. When Aegon eventually returned to the throne, he found his younger brother had built a following of his own. Many in the realm respected Aemond more than him. And Aemond, emboldened by his time as acting king, no longer saw himself as the loyal second son. He saw himself as the rightful ruler. At this point, Aemond's betrayal was inevitable. He had already crossed the line in his heart. The only question was when and how he would act against his brother. So why did Aemond betray Aegon? On the surface, it seems like simple ambition, but the psychology runs deeper. Aemond's life was defined by humiliation, resentment, and the constant need to prove himself. Losing his eye, being mocked as dragonless, and living in his brother's shadow created a powerful inferiority complex. His entire identity was built on clawing his way out of weakness. When Aegon was crowned king, it was the ultimate insult. The realm's greatest weapon, Aemond, was forced to serve under a man he considered unworthy. This wasn't just about power, it was about identity. To Aemond, the Iron Throne was proof that he mattered,